following along with Tanya McGuire. I'll put a link to her channel in the description box below. But she's doing a junky junk journal made from junk mail. I'm having so much fun with it. But I wanted to show you a couple of the things that I've done. Now, in my last video last week, I showed you how I created these scissors. But I'm going to show that to you again. And then I have a couple more things that I want to show you that might just be little hints. They're probably nothing new. I'm not claiming everything's my idea. No, it's not. These techniques have probably been around, but I want to share them with you. So let's start with the page that I created today. One of the prompts that Tanya did was to put shapes on your page. I'm not going to tell you where in there, but she used circles, I believe. And I want to show you what I did and talk about it just a little. I started out with a circle, but I kind of changed my mind. And the circle does not have to be a beautiful circle. I'm using this page of oil color out of a Dick Blick catalog. Yes, this is 2019. I can't wait for the next one because I'm cutting this one up. I usually look at these, but I also go to Dick Blick online, and I'm going to cut a fairly large circle. Now, I'm just going to double it for my own purposes here. This is not part of what I want to show you, and this is not going to be a perfect circle. It'll be somewhat of a oval circle, which is fine too. It's a shape. But then, and I've done this before, I want to show you about cutting a spiral, but notice how thick I'm making my lines here, and I'm doing that for a reason. Yeah, it's probably about 3/4 of an inch thick. And I'm just going to cut it around the same size. And this will be just a little bit, it won't be as spirally as some of the others that I've done, but you'll get the idea because I'm leaving a pretty thick line in here. And as you do this, if you try this, you'll get an idea and a sense of what you want to do. Now, there's a reason for this big, thick space in here, and I'll explain that just as soon as I do this last cut. All right, so there's my oval cut into a spiral, but I want to put it down on my page in a spiral shape, and I almost have to tear it to do that, and I don't want to tear it. So what I've done, in order for it to show its spiral shape without closing in on itself, I will go back again and cut this in half. And magically, you will get 2 spirals, but look what happens. I think some of you already know what will happen because, well, you're mixed media artists. But let's just cut this in half, and that's why I left a wide space in here, like 3/4 of an inch for a circle this size. And it depends on what you want to do. Now, I've gotten a little bit thinner in here, but that's okay. I've still got enough room. And I'm still cutting my spirals. I'm just about to the end. Just have some patience. I'm getting there. And of course, now I'm doing this on the fly. If I were doing this sitting alone, I might be a little bit more careful. So it's just going like that. If you hear a train in the background, we have several trains that come through. This is Sunday afternoon, but they toot on Sunday afternoon too. They don't seem to stop chugging on Sunday afternoons. They're busy people on that railroad track. Now let me just finish this off. Yep, I can hear them very clear, the little choo-choo train. In a way, I kind of like the train going through. Okay, now I have, magically, Let me shake it out here. 2 spirals. But look. Look, 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 look. Look at this. As I fold it up, if I wanted to glue book it down, I have space. And you can tell it's a spiral because I cut it in half. And not only do I have one like that, magically, it's magic. It's magic. This was so fun. I will say I figured this out myself, but I will also say somebody else has probably figured it out too. So there we go, 2 spirals, and you can tell they're spirals. They're no longer ovals. How fun is that? I wanted to show you that technique. You can even save this if you want. That might go good on a page. Okay, so that was one technique I wanted to share with you. Now let's go back in, and out of this scrap piece, I'll show you how I made these scissors again. I showed this in my last video, but I'll show it to you again in case you missed the last one. I think I'm going to fold it this way because I've got plenty to work with. Well, almost plenty to work with. I'll get some writing on my handles, but that's okay. Or on the blades. Let's just fold it in half. You just have to figure out what you want. And then I just start cutting. I start cutting the handles like this. Just kind of cut a circle, and I just freehand this. I freehand it because I've made so many of these. And then I come down here. Let's chop this off just a little. Give me some room to work with. And I start making the blades. Now I make these in one piece. I've made them in 2 pieces before too, and that's in another video on my channel. But in this case, I'm cutting the blades right here, only I'm doing this cut right here. So let's just go ahead and cut this, and you can cut it different ways. I'll come back in and snip this off to make it look more like a scissor. But I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to cut a heart. I'm just going to cut a heart. Heart will be kind of large. Let's see if I can. Oh, I didn't cut the stem here. Let's see if I can still get a little stem on it. I don't know if that will work or not. Yeah, it will. So I'm going to come back over on this side. We've cut in here. Let's go in here and make this look more like a scissors blade. Let's just put these together like this, and let's do a snip like that. And you'll see it when I open it up. This is almost like cutting a very intricate Valentine. And I'm going to, because I've got this little cut there, I'm going to make this shank pretty thick in there. And then let's just do a little nick there. And then I fold the scissors together, the handles together like this. Fold them in half. It's okay. This is just scrap paper. And then I just cut out the center of the scissors handles. And now it's time to open it up and see what you have. Oh, look, a pair of scissors. Let's put it down on the page. So now I've got a pair of scissors, and I put a little heart in this one, and I've got my spirals. I've got my spirals that are really kind of linking into each other here. There's one. But I love this because it looks like a spiral now. I love that technique. That is so fun to do. And you could tear this apart. I think I did this when I was doing Jerry Bellini's page, where she put something down on the page, on her very first page, and I started cutting this, and I started spiraling it like this. I mean, I had a big sheet, and I put a brain down there. It looked like a brain. I think I covered it up eventually. So those are 2 cutting techniques that I wanted to share with you. The other one is more of, and I know this is not my idea. I'm not claiming it as my idea. I just want to share it. And I ran across it today when we were stitching the sides of this. I just did running stitches. But I want to share with you because this is a really good idea. You have, especially if you double your thread, and that's what I'm going to do here. I cut a length of thread. I'm going to double it in half like this. And I'm going to pull the two ends even. Pull them even. Pull them even like that. Now I'm going to snip this off. My scissors need sharpening. Snip it off like that. And then let's get my needle out here. Hi, Penelope. Can I use a needle, please? Just don't take my scissors. And I'm off camera. I'm going to thread this. Believe it or not, I was probably about 40 years old before I learned the proper way to thread a needle from an authentic needle worker. Well, let me thread it. And I probably learned this trick that I'm showing you now. You're going to thread the two uneven, the two cut ends. You're going to have the loop down at the bottom. And in fact, I know that I learned this from some of my needlework friends. So you thread the two, after you've doubled your thread, you thread the two uncut ends through your needle. And you have the loop end at the back. Now, let's pull this out. Say this is a tag. And you want to, let's just stitch around. I know I think this is a receipt. But say you want to stitch around here and you don't want to tie a knot. So I'm going to poke my hole through here. And you can do this with fabric. This is not just a paper thing. Leave your loop. And then you can come back through on paper. I'm going to come back through maybe 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch through, just so you aren't going through the same hole. You want it to have just a little space in there. See the space between where I went through and where I'm going back through again. Pull that through like that. Now, before you pull it tight, put your needle through your loop. You can either go in this way or in this way. I'm going to go in this way and then pull it. And now you've knotted this thread, whether it's on fabric or paper or what, you've hooked this thread on this paper without making a knot. The knot is really right here. You've just made a loop. It's almost like a daisy stitch in a way. And then you can just continue doing whatever you want. I did a running stitch. Of course, it's a lot easier on this paper than it was on my journal paper, because that journal paper had like 6 layers on it by the time we got ready to stitch it. But see, it holds. It holds beautiful. Now, when you get down to the end and you want to make the knot, of course, you'll have something similar. I'm just going to, well, I goofed that. Let's go down here. Let's make a new stitch down here. Whoops. Let me rethread my needle. I'm rethreading my needle. Hold a minute. Let's go down a little and make another stitch. Say we're at the end. And now you can either come back up through here or you can go down just a little bit more. And I'm going to poke a hole in there. Come back through like this. And then I'm going to go through like this. Now I have this loop. And I am going to go back, maybe not through the exact same one. Well, I can go back through the exact same one if I want. And just pull it gently, because this is paper. On fabric, you can be a little more stern with it. But just pull it gently tight. And there you have your knot. Isn't that fun? Now, if any of you do cross stitch, I will have to show you some of my prior cross stitch projects where I've done some really interesting cross stitches, and I'll talk about that later, but that's not really a technique for this video. And then the only other technique that I wanted to talk about were these journal charms. And rather than show you how we made these, I'm going to say go watch Tanya's video that she did today. There's a link to it in the description box below. She does this. And then I'm also putting a link to my video where I show you how I make my journal charms. And I'm not going to go through the technique because both of us have demonstrated this. And give us a break. Give us some views. Yeah. So there are 4 techniques that I've reviewed for you. Let's get that journal charm off of my scissors. We've done the spirals. We've cut some scissors. We've done the journal charms. And I showed you how to make a blind knot. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. As I run across these techniques, I will share them with you. I'm not claiming that they're all mine. I feel like a couple of them are, but that's beside the point. Use them. That's why we put things out on the internet. Enjoy it and go out and visit Tanya. How fun it is to do this as a group. I just have all sorts of fun creating these pages. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next page.